NHS strikes could last until Christmas as the dispute over nurses' pay escalates. The head of the main nursing union says regular walkouts can't be ruled out as the government insists its offer is full and final.
If they really want to do the right thing for patients and the people of England, they will get round the table again and put more money on the table.
Also tonight, 3 UN aid workers are among those killed in Sudan after violence between the army and paramilitary forces. New details confirmed about the King's coronation, which will see the biggest military ceremonial operation in 70 years.
Saka! No! Puts it out!
And the penalty miss that stunned Arsenal as the title challengers stumble.
This is ITV News with Gamal Fahnbulleh.
Good evening. The head of the biggest nursing union has warned of rolling strikes across all English hospitals until Christmas unless they receive an improved pay deal. The government says it has made its full and final pay offer after members of the Royal College of Nursing voted to reject it and push ahead with more walkouts. For the first time, these will include emergency wards and cancer care. The RCN's members turned down a 5% pay rise alongside a one-off cash top-up. Harry Horton reports.
After a winter of NHS walkouts, health workers in England are now gearing up for a summer of strikes. And if the government fails to improve its pay offer, the Royal College of Nursing says industrial action could last until the end of the year.
We will immediately move now to reballot our members in June, and if that ballot is successful, then those strikes will last to Christmas. But again, what I would say, and I would make a plea to government this morning, let's now put more money on the table and bring these strikes to an end.
What do we want?
For now, the RCN says it has no plans to coordinate strikes with junior doctors who've just finished their own week of walkouts. The Health Secretary, Steve Barclay, wrote to union leaders this morning to offer fresh talks. But on pay, the government appears unwilling to budge. Are you saying there's no improvement on that offer? That's the final deal, they've got to accept it?
Nurses have voted narrowly against. Let's just wait and see what the other unions say. We do think that it is a really, really strong, fair and reasonable offer.
While some health unions consider the offer, fresh nursing strikes are set to go ahead on the 1st May bank holiday. For the first time, nurses working on cancer wards, in intensive care units and at emergency departments like this one will join the picket lines in what will be seen as a major escalation of strike action. NHS bosses have warned today this will endanger patient safety. Labour has urged the RCN to reconsider escalating action.
I really hope that if the Royal College of Nursing is going ahead with another round of strikes, that they continue to protect emergency care and cancer care as they have in the past. I think there is a real risk of patient safety if that doesn't happen.
Rishi Sunak hoped a winter of NHS disruption was over, but another season of industrial action is now set to begin.
Well, Harry is with me now. Harry, both sides appear to be giving no ground, so where does it go from here?
Well, it's tricky for the RCN and for the government. For the Royal College of Nursing, I think there will be an increasingly difficult position if other unions, as some have done, accept this pay offer of a 5% pay rise plus one-off cash payment. I think the government may be hoping that the RCN looks increasingly isolated. That might put pressure on them to compromise. But look, this is a really difficult position for the Prime Minister as well. Rishi Sunak said bringing down NHS waiting lists was one of his top 5 priorities for the year. Waiting lists at the moment at record levels, more than 7 million people waiting for routine appointments. And we know that from previous strikes by health unions, when they happen, appointments are cancelled, and that means waiting lists don't go down, they go up. Now, tomorrow, MPs are back after their Easter recess. When they left 2 weeks ago, MPs and the Prime Minister were hoping that this issue of health strikes was behind them. Clearly, it isn't. And I think the risk for the Prime Minister is that as we approach these summer months, these health strikes could become more and more serious.
Yeah, another difficult few weeks ahead. Harry, thank you. The United Nations World Food Programme has suspended its operations in Sudan after 3 aid workers were killed in fighting between the country's army and biggest paramilitary force. More than 60 people have died and over 600 have been injured as the two rival forces battle for control of the capital, Khartoum. Chloe Keedy reports.
In Khartoum, the air is thick not just with smoke, but the relentless sound of gunfire. On the streets below, a bloody battle is being fought between Sudan's army and a rival paramilitary group. Both want power, but for 2 days now, it's the people that live here who've been paying the price. Since the fighting started suddenly yesterday morning, dozens of civilians have died, including 3 UN aid workers. Hundreds of people have been injured and many more are now too scared to leave their homes.
We've been here more than a whole day, 32 hours now.
Katharina, who works for the charity Save the Children, was taking her son to a tennis lesson when the streets became a battlefield. They are now barricaded inside a school with 20 others.
We have really loud noises, some more like shooting noises, some more like really loud like thunder. It really came out of the blue. Of course, I mean, in all the last years, I've lived in Sudan over 6 years. There are tensions on and off, but this type of escalation I have not seen before at all.
It's the devastating result of disagreement over Sudan's proposed transition to civilian rule. As warplanes whizzed through the city's skyline, the army and its rival paramilitaries, the RSF, both claimed that they had taken control of certain key locations, including the presidential palace and the city's airport. There was a brief ceasefire this afternoon as politicians from all over the world called for a permanent one. The former Sudanese Prime Minister shared a stark warning.
يظل السلام هو الخيار الوحيد.
He said peace remains the only feasible choice for the people of Sudan to avoid plunging the country into a civil war. But people here must tonight be wondering at what price peace will come. Chloe Keedy, ITV News.
The British Horse Racing Authority says it will investigate in painstaking detail the deaths of 3 horses at Aintree since Thursday, including one who died at the Grand National. The sports' regulator also condemned the reckless actions of animal rights activists who disrupted the event yesterday. 65 protesters are in custody, while 42 have been released. No one has yet been charged. The group behind the protests, Animal Rising, has promised a summer of disruption. Hundreds of Amazon staff in Coventry warehouse have begun 3 days of strikes in a long-running dispute over pay. Members of the GMB union have also planned further strikes for next week. 5 other Amazon depots are now balloting on whether to strike too. And more details have been revealed about the emergency alerts that will be sent to phones across the country next Sunday. Your phone will vibrate and make a sound for 10 seconds at 3 p.m. on the 23rd of April, along with a message which will say, in a real emergency, follow the instructions in the alert to keep yourself and others safe. Now, Armed Forces veterans and NHS workers will be given front row seats for King Charles's coronation in a specially built grandstand in front of Buckingham Palace. Today, it was confirmed 6,000 members of the Armed Forces will take part in the procession to and from Westminster Abbey. That will make it the largest military ceremonial operation in 70 years. Sangeeta Lal reports.
In 1953, Queen Elizabeth's coronation was unlike any other seen before. Millions watched across the world as thousands of troops lined the procession route. And the then 4-year-old Prince Charles became part of a new tradition, waving to the crowds below. 70 years on, King Charles III plans to bring all the pageantry back for what will be the largest ceremonial display of armed forces for a generation.
You're talking about 10,000 troops involved in this in one way and another. Not to mention a lot of barracks around London and southeast England. It's obviously a big operation. I'm sure there'll be lots of rehearsals going on already, and they will culminate in rehearsals that are actually on the ground during the night, during the week before the Saturday the 6th itself.
for what will be a very different coronation. As well as all the traditional duties, King Charles is adding his own personal touch, involving 400 armed forces from across 35 Commonwealth countries.
And here, almost 4,000 seats will be given to veterans and NHS workers in what will be a specially built grandstand, giving them one of the best views for the moment everyone will be waiting for when the royal family take those famous first steps on the Buckingham Palace balcony.
And this is where they'll be seated in just under 3 weeks' time. The perfect spot to watch the flypast too, which will be an even bigger spectacle than the Platinum Jubilee, involving aircraft that have delivered support to Ukraine, flying alongside the historic Spitfires. A moment similar to the Queen's coronation that recognised centuries-old traditions in an ever-changing world.
Marching as though out of the past into the present and on into the future.
Sangi Talal, ITV News.
Football now, and Arsenal let a 2-goal lead slip for the second week in a row as their bid to lift the Premier League trophy for the first time in 19 years continues to lose momentum. They drew 2-2 in their London derby against West Ham. Chris Scudder was watching.
Another frustrating day for Arsenal, just like at Liverpool, a 2-goal lead lost and 2 precious points slipping away. It had all started so well, an early calming goal from Gabriel Jesus.
Finish it off with Jesus!
Then, inside 10 minutes, the leaders cruising 2-0 up and surely heading for a precious victory. But a penalty conceded late in the first half brought West Ham back into it. Ben Rama scored it.
No problem for him.
Then, the crucial moment, a hammer's hand ball and a chance for Bukayo Saka to make it 3-1.
Saka! No!
How crucial might that miss be in the final title reckoning? Just like at Anfield, Arsenal found themselves up against it and couldn't hold on. Jared Bowen scoring the equaliser that will have been cheered loud and long in the blue side of Manchester. Chris Scudder, ITV News.
Well, elsewhere, Manchester United kept their hopes of a top 4 finish on track with a 2-0 win against Nottingham Forest. United's Brazilian winger Antony scored his side's first goal before setting up Diogo Dalot to secure 3 points. The result lifts United up to 3rd, while Forest remain in the relegation zone. And that's it for tonight from all the weekend team here. Many thanks indeed for watching. Have a great week. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.